I conducted a webinar recently where our focus was on common assessments. I find quite often when I work with a school or a district or a higher ed program that there is a disconnect or a misconnect between what they're calling a common assessment and what they're doing with the results. First, let me clarify the difference between a formative assessment and a summative assessment, because that plays a part in this role of common assessments. A formative assessment is for the learning. In other words, this idea of I'm going to use this assessment to inform my students and myself about what are my students doing well with. Are they getting this concept? Are they having struggles? Maybe there's a disconnect or a misconnect of understanding. And so I want to know what that is while we're in the middle of the learning so that we can learn together better. A summative assessment is what I like to think of as sum up of the learning. Usually quite often it's done toward the end of the learning, maybe at a benchmark time during the year, but it's this idea of looking at the student from more of a summit level, this idea of the sum of the learning. So whether it's formative or summative, it's all about what we do with the results. And that's where common comes in. So today I'd like to clarify for you the difference between a common assessment and a same assessment. On the screen, you'll see a side-by-side comparison of the characteristics of a common assessment versus a same assessment. As you can see, the distinct difference is in what you're doing with the results. So whether the assessment is a product or a performance or a combination of both, a same assessment is one where we're both giving it, or we're all giving it. We're giving the literally same assessment, but we're not going to get together formally to talk about how are our students doing from the results that we're getting from this assessment, and taking that back and collaboratively deciding on what do we need to work with our students and what do we need to do instructionally different to make sure our students are learning. Where a common assessment means we're going to get together formally. We're going to look at our students collaboratively and collectively as a whole and ask ourselves, what is it that our students are doing well on? What do they not understand? And why are they not understanding it? Is it a misconception or a misunderstanding? Or is it simply an error? Or did we not really give them an opportunity to apply it in a way contextually that will make sense for them as learners and for us being able to tell as evaluators? We also look at it to help ourselves instructionally, so we know better how to teach our students in that next round of work, whether it's a formative level of work or it's a summative level. So I'm suggesting to you today that you get together with your colleagues at your school level or your district level and decide how are we going to label our assessments when they're common or same, so that we all have an understanding of how we're going to use those results. Common assessment results, we're going to get together collaboratively and make some decisions. Where if it's the same assessment, I'm going to have some cognitive and metacognitive time with myself and with my students, but I'm not going to be meeting with my colleagues. With that said, I hope that this has helped you think about what are we doing with the results of our assessments, because it's all about the purpose of the assessment that makes the difference.